No, hola, buenas tardes. A ver, no sé si se está grabando. A ver, aló, ¿se escucha el audio? ¿Se graba? Bueno, okay, I'm going to take the risk. I don't really know if this is filming audio or not. Honestly, I don't have idea, but I'm going to start. This is a rehearsal that I wanted to make. My mind was in Spanish at the beginning. For the reason I was speaking in Spanish, but it is all going to be in English language, okay? So, this is the class of professional English for tourism. And this is how teamwork, group intent. So my mates are Maite and John. And we are going to be making a research proposal about best practices for managing health-related complaints in food and beverage services at hotel restaurants. So our professor is Marlon Cedeno, engineer, okay? And let's start with it. So first, the introduction. In this research, we will address the main concerns and complaints identified within the food and beverage department of buffet restaurants at hotel, as it is something related to health complaints. So, food and beverage is related to health complaints. For that reason, we are talking about food and beverage because at hotels and resorts, the closest thing to health complaints is food and beverage, as what you eat is what makes you healthy or not. So this research will cover topics such as safe food handling practices, the importance of gluten-free and vegetarian options, the halal certification, and addressing the main complaints from clients, including spoiled fruits and dirty dishes at the buffet. Safe food handling practices. First, number one, clean. Wash your hands with warm water and soap for 20 seconds at least. So clean pretty well your fingers. Make sure you are not wearing any kind of accessories around your hands like bracelets or rings. Take them off because when you are cooking, that shouldn't be because it can be a possible generator of pollution for the food, as well as clean all the ingredients that you are going to be using for cooking. You're right. So another step is to separate food. At the hotels, these people they cook a lot, massive quantity of food, so it needs to be a storage. So the people who are going to buy the ingredients, they're not going to be going to buy ingredients every single day. Maybe they go to the market every 3 days or every 5 days or even once per week. So all of the food needs to be stored from time to time. So in order to do that, you need to separate it and know in which area you're going to put it. You have to separate raw meat, poultry, seafood, eggs, and sometimes you will have to use a knife or cut it in small pieces or small chunks in order to put it separated, right? And another important thing about safe food handling is cook. All of the meats, all food, poultry, all fish, pork needs to be cooked as some of it might have bacteria or could have any kind of pollution that could be a possible risk for the health of the client. So it needs to be cooked before it's consumed. So there we have different temperatures that it's needed to be cooked in order for having the consumption of the guests. Now, another step is to chill. We need to frozen some of the foods, some of the ingredients that we might have in order to keep it proper for human consumption. Like for example, raw meat or fish, most of the time it needs to be kept in a place below the 0 degrees of temperature in order to keep it storage and it can last even for months without getting in bad condition. So it's pretty important to chill some of the foods that are required to be chilled, okay? Now, moving to the next topic, We're talking about what is gluten and why gluten-free foods are important. Okay, gluten is a type of protein found in certain grains such as wheat, barley, and rye. It's what makes dough elastic and gives bread its chewy texture. For some people, consuming gluten can cause health problems. This is particularly true for individuals with celiac disease, an autoimmune condition where gluten damages the small intestine. Others might have gluten sensitivity, which means they also feel unwell after eating gluten, though their condition is less severe than celiac disease. Therefore, gluten-free foods are important for those with this condition as well, as they allow this individual to enjoy their meal without experiencing discomfort or health issues. All right. So here we have a picture where I show an example of foods that are rich in gluten, foods that certain people they cannot consume it. As you can see, there's bread, there's corn, there's rice, there's pasta, all of those fruits, all of those foods that contains a starch. Everything that has starch, as we mentioned before, not only starch but also barley and rye, all of those things have gluten, and not everybody is able to consume gluten. So we must be careful with that, okay? So let's move to the next one. So for buffet, it's important to place small signs on each buffet dish to indicate whether the dish is gluten-free, catering to clients' preferences and needs. Providing proper education and training to the cooking staff is crucial, as small details can turn a gluten-free dish into a not gluten-free one, such as adding a tomato soaked in oil that may contain wheat. Ensuring that most dishes have a gluten-free version is ideal for maintaining guest satisfaction. Vegetarian and vegan options. The inclusion of vegetarian and vegan options in the menu is crucial for guest satisfaction, as they may have diverse needs, desire, or interests. Many guests may be following a caloric deficit for weight loss, or they might be vegetarians or vegans for personal reasons. To provide a nutritionally balanced menu, vegetables are essential. It's important to know the difference between vegan and vegetarian options. Vegan dishes contain no animal products whatsoever, while vegetarian options might include dairy or eggs. Halal certification. Halal certification is an important accreditation provided to restaurants that adhere to Islamic dietary laws. These guidelines are rooted in deep religious traditions and cultural practices that hold significant meaning for Muslims. The certifications enable Muslim guests to identify permissible food options without concern, ensuring their desired needs and religious beliefs are respected. Sorry. To provide these options with confidence, a restaurant should pursue an official halal certification. This involves adhering to strict guidelines such as ensuring that the meat comes from animals slaughtered in accordance with the Islamic law, and that all the ingredients are free from prohibited substances like pork and alcohol. Respecting these dietary restrictions is crucial. Pork, for example, is strictly forbidden in Islam, and the presence of even small amounts can render a meal impermissible. By offering certified halal options, restaurants can honor and respect the cultural and religious practices of their Muslim guests, thereby fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment for all. How to acquire the adult certificate. To acquire an adult certification, start by identifying a recognized adult certification authority, which can vary by country. The certification process typically involves several key steps. First, submit an application to the chosen authority. This is followed by a thorough inspection of the food preparation areas to ensure they meet Islamic dietary laws. The ingredients used in meal preparation will also be assessed to verify that they comply with these standards. After a successful inspection and review, the certification authority will grant the adult certificate. It is essential to regularly renew the certification to maintain compliance and reassure guests of the authenticity of your adult offerings. This process not only demonstrates a commitment to meeting the religious and cultural needs of Muslims guests, but also fosters trust and inclusivity within the community. Common complaints: spoiled fruits. If we look at some reviews on TripAdvisor about buffet restaurants, we can identify two common complaints. The first is spoiled fruits. Due to high temperatures, some fruits tend to spoil faster. For example, a ripe banana spoils more quickly than an apple or an orange. To prevent this, it's important to ensure that fruits are kept in a well-ventilated area, perhaps with a fan to keep flies away, and at an appropriate temperature to extend their freshness. Regular inspections of fruits conditions are also necessary, as it is extremely disrespectful for clients to encounter spoiled fruits such as instance can leave a terrible impression about the hygiene of the place. Common complaints. The second one is dirty dishes. Buffet restaurants handle a large number of clients ranging from 300 to 1,200 per service at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So to manage this effectively, they often use dishwashing machines. However, these machines occasionally fail to clean all dishes truly, leaving some slightly dirty, which clients notice. Given that clients pay a significant amount for the buffet service, encountering dirty dishes can be extremely disrespectful and disappointing. The best course of action to address this issue is to have someone supervise every dish that comes out of the machine, ensuring that each dish is clean and rewashing any that are not. Will maintain the highest standards expected and uphold the restaurant's reputation for hygiene. So, conclusions. This research contributes to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, SDG, of zero hunger by promoting inclusive and nutritious food options in hospitality, such as diabetic friendly, vegetarian, gluten free, and halal certified offerings. By prioritizing diverse dietary needs, buffet restaurants support food accessibility and reduce inequality, ensuring guests from all backgrounds can enjoy safe, health-conscious meals. This approach also raises awareness around responsible food management, encouraging similar practices industry-wide, and moving towards a more equitable global food system. Food and beverage services are directly connected to human health. Providing meals that meet various dietary requirements is not only a matter of guest satisfaction, but also crucial for the well-being of individuals. Ensuring that food is safe and nutrition helps prevent health issues related to diets and support overall public health. So the key areas of focus includes: number one, safe food handling. Proper education and preparation for staff to ensure gluten-free options remain uncontaminated and clearly labeled. Two, diversity options. Providing vegetarian, vegan, and halal certified dishes to cater to the diverse needs and preferences of guests, thus fostering an inclusive environment. Three, hygiene and cleanliness. Regular inspection of fruits conditions to prevent spoilage and having a supervision system for dishes washing to ensure all dishes are truly clean, as this is vital for guests' perception of hygiene and respect towards them. By addressing these critical aspects, buffet restaurants can enhance the dining experience, respect the dietary laws and preferences of guests, and uphold a reputation for cleanliness and quality service. Okay, so that was all this precision, and this is a rehearsal that I am making. For that reason, you see me reading everything that you see on the screen. Normally, when I want to make an exposition or a public speech, I am not reading, but I am simply flowing with what I know, with what I really know. Not reading, but what I really know, what's really inside of my mind. But this is a rehearsal. So when you are learning, when you are at the first stage, when you do know nothing about the topic, what you have to do the first thing is to read. It's pretty important to read. And that's what professors at university, they always told their students to read. They put us companions, they put us resources, everything available on the web for us to start learning, but it's up to you if you decide that you want to read or you don't want to read. So if you decide to take the action and you start reading, that's the first stage. You start reading. And right now we have smartphones with AI, artificial intelligence. So if you don't understand something, you can search on chat GPT and you can search and ask questions what it means or whatever, and you can find the answers so you can understand. You can find a way. And if you don't understand about artificial intelligence, maybe you can search on YouTube or in another website, or you might also ask to your professor, but there is always a way. If you really decide to learn and to improve your knowledge, you always can make it, but it depends up to you. The number one key for success in learning is your own personal motivation. So if you are motivated about it, you are going to learn everything because everybody is intelligent, everybody is smart, everybody's capable, but it's up to you. So right now that I did all the reading, I'm going to try to say it with my own words, what I know, okay? So here I go. First, let's go directly to the introduction. So this is a research where what we are trying to do in this research is to address some of the main complaints that we can find at the buffet restaurants. And why do we choose this topic exactly? Because this research is about health, right? So what's the number one thing that restaurants, hotels, resorts that they can do for health is to take care of what they cook. Because what a client puts inside of his mouth is going to his or her digestive system. So it can make him or her to get sick. So it's pretty important to know how to handle cooking, to know how to handle food in order to provide the best service as possible and avoid the complaints. And also, another important area of this research is that we are looking for inclusive tourism. We want to include everybody. We want tourism to be accessible to everyone. So this also includes the food and beverage department, that it needs to be accessible for everybody, for people who are vegans, vegetarians, people who can't consume gluten, people who are Muslims and they can't consume pork, and they also need to see a certification because they are not going to trust you easily if you simply tell them, no, it doesn't have pork, it doesn't have alcohol. They are pretty well religious people. They need to see the certification in order to eat at peace, in order to eat calmly. Okay. And as well, another of the main complaints that we found is the complaint of the dirty dishes. So we also talk about the safe food handling practices, that is how we should handle the food, how it is important to clean our hands, to clean all of the ingredients that we keep at the cook of a restaurant in a hotel, as well how to separate it, each, how to know where every single one of the ingredients have to be, because not everything is the same. There is a place for food that can be kept in warm temperature. And also there are places for food that needs to be frozen and other foods that needs to be you simply cold in a cold temperature. Okay, so it's important to know how to separate everything as well. It's important to know that there are certain foods that always needs to be cooked in order to eliminate whatever kind of bacteria that it might have and that it can make somebody to get sick. And as well, to know how to chill the food. There's, as I mentioned before, it's important. Some foods needs to be frozen and they need to be kept in a place with temperatures below the 0 degrees in order to be kept safely. As one example that I gave is fish is one of them. It needs to be kept below a temperature of 0 degrees. Okay, so What is gluten and why gluten-free foods are important? Gluten is a protein that we can find as starch, we can find it as wheat, as barley, rye. So this is a protein that most of us we consume. We can consume it, most people can consume it, but there are certain people that have a certain celiac disease, or people who maybe who are diabetic, it might also affect them, or people who are gluten intolerant, it affects them because they cannot consume it, because when they consume it, they are not going to feel well. So for these people, we need to consider to always add options to the menu that are gluten-free foods so that they can safely consume it and enjoy of a good meal without the discomfort of getting sick when they consume it. So here that I show this example of food that contains gluten. We can see rice, corn, we can see bread. All of those things are things that have gluten. We can also see pasta as well have gluten. So we need to prepare the stuff of the hotel to the cooks. We need to prepare the chefs, all of them, as well as the maitres and also the waitress. All of them have to be prepared to have a basic knowledge about gluten and distinguish which food has gluten and which food is a gluten-free food, because there are always going to come clients that are going to approach to you and are going to ask you, do you know if this has gluten or not? So the best thing that we can do is to put a small sign, it's simply like a tiny advertisement, like a small card where you write the name of the dish and you also add if it's gluten free or not. So that way clients will know, oh, this is gluten free. Okay, I can consume that. Or so they can guide themselves towards their preferences, right? Vegetarian and vegan options. Well, there are different reasons why some people might be vegetarians or vegans. Maybe philosophy, maybe personal reasons. You never know, right? But in order to make all of this inclusive for everybody, we need to provide vegetarian and vegan options at the menu of a buffet restaurant. Especially if we are talking about international restaurants, international hotels, where people from different areas of the world coming there, because a lot of them might be vegetarians, a lot of them might be vegans, and they need to have a proper nutrition as well. So we need to always add some vegetarians and vegans options. Which is the difference in here between vegetarian and vegan? Vegetarians, they might consume some animal products, just as dairy, yogurt, milk, and as well cheese. But vegans, they consume absolutely zero animal products. They don't even wear animal products for sure. Vegan is more far away that only taking care of your diet, but also it's about your lifestyle. They don't even consume or buy any kind of products. For example, if they are going to buy a jacket and the jacket is made with some animal material, with animal skin or animal fur, they are not going to buy it. That's an example that I'm giving. And always remember something else: vegetables and fruits and all of it is essential for everybody human health. So at the end, it doesn't matter if you are vegan or you are vegetarian, if you are vegetarian or vegan or not. Everybody needs to eat vegetables for getting a good nutrition. Because if you don't eat vegetables, then you will have a nutritional imbalance, and you don't want that in your life. If you want to be happy, you don't want to go through sickness. All right. So as well, in this exposition, we're talking about the halal certification. Why the halal certification is important? Well, the halal certification is important because at international buffets of restaurants and hotels, there's comes people from all around the world, and there are a lot of people who are followers of Islam. So they are Muslims. And these people, they have a specific diet. They cannot eat pork. They cannot eat consume any kind of alcohol. So if there is a dish that contains a lot of things, this person doesn't know if what he's looking is pork. So this person don't have any kind of idea, and this person is not going to trust to eat that food because this person is religious. This person needs to know that what he's eating or she's eating is something safe so that he's not breaking any kind of rule from his or her religion. Okay. So for that reason, it's very, very important to have an allergy certification. And when I'm talking about this topic, I'm talking with all my respect because I have saw that. I have saw people approaching to me and asking me if we have the other certification at a restaurant. So you have to show them their certificate so that they can eat peacefully without worrying about their religion. All right. So how to acquire the other certificate? Forgetting it depends on every single country that you have to search for a certified authority in the country that you're living. You have to search a certified authority that can provide you the other certification. So this authority will have to examine it, will have to do an inspection to how you cook, to how you prepare the dishes. So this person will see that you really, really, really accomplish with all of the requirements of the Islamic laws. Okay, so after that person have examined your cook and that authority sees that you accomplish with all the requirements, then you receive the certification. And you always have to renew that certification so that you can always keep your clients and your guests satisfied. All right. So right now, talking about the common complaints. For getting this data, a researcher trip advisor, and those are the most common complaints that you can find when you go to TripAdvisor and you put the reviews that only have 1 or 2 stars. And if you review them and you try to focus in the food and beverage things, what you find the most is that people complain about spoiled fruits, and as well also about dirty dishes. So what happens is that some fruits they tend to spoil very quickly. Like when the staff of the restaurant when they put the food in the fruit in there, they see the fruit like it is good. It is good to be consumed. It doesn't look spoiled, but the temperature. Remember that most of tourists and the tourist season is pretty high when it's summer. So temperature is like it's hot, right? And fruits usually tend to get spoiled faster, quicker when it's hot. So what we need to do is to always have a fan nearby it so that the fan ventilate a little bit the fruit. It will also be a great asset for flies because sometimes flies feel attracted towards fruits. So the fan will make that all the flies get away, and as well to have the area with air conditioning so that it have a fresh environment and the fruits don't spoil so quickly. Always be careful with bananas because ripe bananas, they usually get spoiled pretty fast. Within few hours, they are spoiled. So always be careful with that kind of fruit because some fruits spoil faster and another ones just simply takes more time to get spoiled, right? So, dear dishes, buffet handle a great number of clients, like more than 1,000 clients, hundreds of clients. You usually see a great line of people waiting to get in the restaurant in order to eat. Um, so everybody's pretty hurry up. All of the staff is pretty hurry up. And sometimes when they are using the machine for washing all of the dishes, sometimes this machine is not perfect and some of the dishes might be dirty. So there must be somebody, the person who is cleaning the dishes must watch if there is a dish that comes out of the machine and still remains dirty must give it a second washing because it's so disrespectful. Trust me, it's so disrespectful for somebody who had paid for a service to receive a bad service. And remember, buffet restaurants, they usually are not cheap at all. So people are paying expensive amounts of money for receiving that service and then finding that the dish that is supposed to be clean is dirty is not something that the client is going to feel satisfied about. So it's something that you must be really careful about, and to the dishes that it must be very clean so that you don't ruin the reputation of your restaurant, because one of the greatest things that a restaurant should have, one of the number one priority, is hygiene. Always hygiene is a priority. It's pretty important. So, well, the conclusion that I did to this research is that by this research, we are trying to focus a little bit in one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, the goal of zero hunger. We are trying to create the idea of buffet restaurants at hotels that are inclusive, that include options for everybody, that everybody feel included, that anybody feel like, no, I cannot eat here. No, that everybody feel that they can eat there because there are all the options, vegetarian, vegan, for people who can't consume gluten, for people who are Islamic, religious, options for all the people. So that's what we try to do. With this research proposal, we are not just simply trying to talk about whatever topic and that's all. No, no, no. We are trying to create something useful. We are trying to bring something useful to the table. We are trying to bring respect for another cultures. We are trying to provide respect for people who think different than us, because all of us, we are different. So that's what we are trying to do, because that's what tourism is about. It's about being united. It's about understanding each other. So at food and beverage, it also applies as well, to try to understand each other and to bring as much options as possible for always keeping the satisfaction of the clients. Because who is your boss at tourism? Who is your boss at tourism? It's the clients, because tourists are the ones that keep tourism alive. So we need always to give priority to their needs. Okay. So and we also choose this topic because food and beverage is deeply related to health. Because if the food and beverage services is not all right, is not being well handled, then the health of the clients could be affected. And that would be a terrible problem that even the authorities of the country could make you close with your hotel. So you must take care of the food and beverage area of your hotel, because that is one of the key factors for the health of your clients, for their well-being. So those were the kids areas that we talk about how to save food handling, how to handle food in a proper way. And we talk also about to have a diverse dietary options for making tourism inclusive for everybody. And as well, we talk about the great importance of hygiene and cleanliness in the buffet restaurant at a hotel. So that's all for today. That's all that I wanted to talk about, and that is how I rehearsal for a English presentation. That's my way for preparing myself. Because first, you read everything, you make sure that you understand everything. If you don't understand, you ask question to artificial intelligence, or you ask to a teacher, and then you start to try to say everything, but with your own words. No reading, no reading. Just simply what you have in your own mind, and of that way you prepare yourself for an English presentation. So that's all. Thank you for watching, and well, I'm going to finish this video. I don't know. I'm new at Zoom. So I'm going to stop sharing screen, I think. Okay, right now I'm filming. Let me see. Okay, it is. Bye, and thank you for watching.